An excerpt from the Journals of Augur Nicolaj. When small folk speak of the Never, they inevitably speak of a person twisted into a monster, empty of self, fain to violence, a vessel intent on spreading the strange murmurs that infect its soul. Usually they'd speak of someone from a nearby town, or a rumor that they heard from a far-off place, but always of people who lost themselves to the sky. This definition isn't wrong, but it is more narrow than the truth. The discordant voice of the sky can corrupt people, yes, but the forces of the dead god are not merely bound to human shape. Never might be animal, vegetable, or something far stranger. The true power of the endless voice is not its ability to destroy, but its capacity to fill, to subsume, to make everything else a part of it. But if the Battle of the Omniculum showed us anything, it is that the voice is eager for new shapes, new ideas of what it might become. Its servants sweep across the continent not to slaughter all life, but to mold it into something great and terrible. The voice and the broken aren't destroyers. Worse, they're artists. What few survivors there are of the armies that were gathered, that are fanning out across the continent, fleeing and plundering and taking stuff as they go. And so, as the Legion arrived, the commanders sent out Samnail to find out what opportunities there were. And there wasn't a whole lot, but he found something. There are two potential missions here. Gavin, would you read the first mission opportunity for us?
Powerful Never, Assault. Never are horrifying, but they used to be a known quantity. Now, new Never, are they never? Who can say? Covered in plants and moving with terrifying power and speed have emerged in the south. The Sarpat militia is holding them at bay at an abandoned manor. Relieve them and stop this terrifying force before they're overwhelmed.
And that awards 1 morale and takes away 2 time. But failure suffers an increase of 2 pressure. Kris, would you read the other opportunity?
Sure thing. Mercenary work. Supply. Trail boss Kagashi has been in charge of securing the merchant prince's stores and safely transporting them to the east, but fleeing soldiers waylaid his caravan. Kagashi is desperate for help getting the cargo back and is willing to pay the Legion handsomely from the retrieved goods. The reward is +1 asset and +1 supply. The penalty for failure is -1 morale.
Commander, which of these have you chosen?
Well, we're doing them both. But as a primary, we're going to go with Powerful Never, the assault mission against the funny plant zombies. And for our secondary, we're going to be doing the helping out the merchant mission.
Excellent. So, Commander, you may ask the GM questions based on the current intel. How much intel do you have?
Oh, we got 5!
That's so much intel.
We have so much intel. It's wild. I get to ask you 4 questions, I think.
So do we have to spend intel in order to ask these questions,
You
or
don't
do we
have
just
to.
get these questions? Okay, cool.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that at all. We just get these questions for a certain level of intel. We don't
Gotcha.
spend them. We spend
Right. You can spend intel on
gets-
other stuff.
Exactly.
Yes.
But not on this. This is just representing like all this knowledge we have just lying around that we can go over before the mission starts.
Gotcha. Well, strategy-wise, are we more interested in looking towards the future or more interested in learning about what we're walking into at the moment?
I think a mix. So here's my pitch. Question 1, because we go from highest tier to lowest tier. What special missions have we heard of at a location ahead? Question 2, what's the main weakness of the undead's position on this mission as a nice like little bonus for us on this mission? What resources or benefits might we find at a specific location ahead? And then finally, what's the highest threat we can expect on this mission? Or maybe what could be a useful item to bring on this mission, since that's a decision we have to make early as well.
Gotcha. Learning about a weakness would be helpful, especially since it's going to be a very like fight-focused mission.
So if we ask their question 3 as what resources or benefits might we find at a specific location ahead, I think I actually don't want to ask about special missions as well on top of that. I think I'd like to ask what news of the Voice? Or the Cinder King.
Sounds good.
Gives us a nice mix.
Yeah, we haven't checked in with them in a while.
Yeah, let's catch up.
Sure.
Those are my 4 questions.
Okay. So the first question is, what news of the Voice? This strange kind of weather that you're seeing here is appearing not merely in your area, but there are people that are fleeing from different directions who have passed through this place, whether they're coming down the river or coming down through the mountains, who have reported seeing this same sort of like strange, these leaks in the God in the sky, basically, as if the sky is like starting to tumble or pour down in these like isolated waterfalls of ichor. But they don't appear to be like part of a weather system or anything like that. It is very literally as if like it has started to spring leaks.
I'm imagining visual effects of like, say you had like a thin blanket and then you put like marbles on it. So it's like bits of the plane that are like sinking down.
Oh, sure. Yeah, like the sky itself is actually like
drooping.
Dipping closer before it springs out.
Yeah.
And wherever these things touch down, there are infestations of Never that spring up. Again, not merely Never that have been seen before, but Never that have only been seen at the Battle of the Omniculum.
What if there were like sky icicles? Skycicles.
Like just big like spikes of sky stuff that are just like starting to drip down towards the ground. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I bet one has like hit, and it's like those. Have you seen those videos of like underwater icicles touching the ground and then immediately spreading and killing everything it touches?
No.
What? The ocean is a terrifying place.
I forget what it's called, but like
Brinsicle, underwater icicle finger of death.
A brinesicle? Is that what you're telling me it's called? Okay.
That's like literal pillars of salt.
The temperature of the
God damn
salmon
it.
brine, which is well below 0 degrees Celsius, caused the water to freeze in an icy seeth around it. When the so-called brinesicle met the seabed, a web of ice formed that froze everything it touched, including sea urchin and starfish.
Oh, that's cool.
Probably fine.
Whoa, yeah, okay, skip to like a minute in.
The funny
Oh
thing
my
about that is like
God.
the chemistry that's causing that is the same chemistry when you use like salt to make ice cream.
Yeah.
It
Oh my god,
really
that's so fast.
depresses
Like,
the freezing
is this
point.
sped up or?
no.
Oh.
I think it is a little bit sped up just from the motion of the starfish.
Also, I've never seen starfish move before, and they look very funny.
Well, I feel bad for their deaths, but this is also a useful visual for our video game. Yeah, no, it is
Video game?
Yeah, welcome to the video
God,
game.
that's horrifying.
Yeah, this is
damn.
This is what it's like. It is absolutely.
I thought this was an anime.
It is.
I
Welcome.
have anime video games.
Are
Probably.
you a boy or a girl?
No comment.
All right.
I'm a shark.
What is happening?
Has there been any reports of the voice themselves being present?
I think that there's probably some sort of like distinct sound that people associate with the voice. You know, really early on, we used the control hiss as a point of reference. I think there's probably that strange sort of discordant murmur in the sky.
What's that thing? The heart machine? Think what I'm talking about? There's also conspiracy theories about it.
I don't think I know that one. I know Heart Machine, Hyper Light Drifter.
No, HARP, HAARP.
Oh, Harp Machine.
Not the band.
Hello, I'm Hop.
Never mind. I think it's like a loud environmental noise that's like really scary that people have conspiracy theories about.
Yeah, but I think that when Never appeared previously, it wasn't that sort of thing. But when the voice seems to like introduce Never to these places, then yeah, it creates this like ongoing nonsense whisper that begins to fill the landscape. Second question: what's the main weakness of the Never's position on this mission? I think maybe some militia folks come back as part of like the call for aid. People trying desperately to get them to help them fight this group of Never off. Mm-hmm. Which is that previously they had been sort of rampaging across the landscape. Mm-hmm. But they have come to a rest. They have sort of hunkered down at this position, this estate, the Ramta estate, which I think is named for a noble who operated it, probably never, or owned it, probably didn't operate it, probably never set foot there, but had a local manager that took care of making sure that the place was profitable, making sure that everything worked on time. And I think that there was sort of this expectation of, well, we need to stop these Never before they arrive at Sarpat. We have to do everything we can to make sure that they don't destroy our town. Mm-hmm. And so there was this expectation of setting up a defensive like perimeter there. But in fact, once the Never arrived at this location, they seemed to, of their own volition, take it over rather than like trying to rampage their way through it and continue on to the town. At least for the moment, they seem to have infected the place. They seem to have spread into some of the surrounding buildings, in particular the manor, and have begun to sprout strange, sickly, vegetative constructions. And so it seems like, for whatever reason, they seem to be intent on sitting tight here for the moment. But if they decided to keep moving, then they might reasonably be expected to move fast and move hard.
Okay. So you could basically expect on the mission for them to be pretty locked down.
It seems that way, yeah. I think this is probably like the militia doesn't have ranks apart from like captains and everyone else, basically. This is just like in everyone else. Someone who was picked because they were good at running fast. And they managed to get back to town. They're absolutely exhausted. They're completely like shell-shocked from the experience, but are trying to like impart this strange scene of these like weird vines, this like sudden overgrowth, like as if ruins had been overtaken by vegetation over the course of like 100 years, springing up practically overnight.
Right.
And worrying like every moment if they are just going to burst out of that and continue on with their rampage.
Great.
Yep.
That's the word I would use, yes.
This rookie is named Waloot, and she's coming with us.
Love it. What resources or benefits might we find at a specific location ahead? So here I'm going to ask, which direction you're investigating, because the road from Sarpat splits. You could continue on north towards the mountains, or you could head more directly east across the plains and into the desert. Very generally, I will say that the stuff up north tends towards both industrial and mystic locations, whereas there is more specifically like civilized, more centers of society across the east.
So if we go north, we're locked into mountain time for the next few moves. If we go east, we have options around desert time, forest time, or sort of seaside time.
Mm-hmm.
Are we not making that decision yet, though?
We're not making that decision, so this is just about information gathering. I would probably lean towards information gathering about this location due east, because I'm kind of leaning that way anyway, and it would be nice to know what kind of things we might expect to find there.
Yeah.
Especially seeing how the condition of Sarpat was maybe not a surprise, but still like surprising.
Not as good as we would have liked.
Yeah. It's like how bad are things at other big cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, so east across the plains is a Chimorti. It is not necessarily like a settlement, really. It is more like a caravan that sticks to a particular area called the Icarion caravan. I think this probably comes to you in part from Kagashi, the trail boss, who's asking for your help heading towards the east, who has heard from people reporting that there are indeed a lot of people still in the caravan, that the caravan has not dispersed or fled itself or anything like that. In fact, it seems to be operating in part as a refugee camp for a lot of the people that would have lived along the river at places like Sarpat and Loggerhead. Because it is a caravan that is always on the move across this kind of landscape to begin with, it is a rich supply of horses.
Love a horse.
Yeah, there's lots of horses and probably a few elephants if you head east.
Okay.
Last question. What would be a useful item to bring on this mission? Black shot.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But now we know.
I think.
I feel like we knew that, but all right, now we know for sure.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think black shot is pretty clearly an obvious choice for any assault mission, right? This particular mission, you already know that they seem to be like concentrated in a particular location and seem to be growing stuff. If you had stuff that burned, then that would probably be good at countering not only stuff that is entrenched, but vegetative stuff.
Right. So Nabain will be normal with black shot and oil.
Right, of course. Love a normal Nabain.
Nabain is very normal.
Right.
I might go heavy.
Don't do that.
No?
We lose a die.
No, that was only.
Oh,
I think
okay,
that-
okay,
that's
okay.
only
I thought
for
that was
scout.
on, yeah.
Oh,
for
okay.
recon
Yeah.
missions. I think it
Yeah.
depends on the type of mission, because I'm like, it seems weird that it would always be a penalty, especially for like an assault mission where
Yeah.
it's like, no, bring a lot of stuff to destroy things. Yeah.
And then I might go heavy.
Okay, so Marshall, assign a squad and up to 2 specialists to each mission. Decide who's in charge of each mission unless an officer is assigned. Marshall, what are your choices?
All right. Kayo and Aiofe are leading the Ember Wolves in the primary mission. With Nabain, I guess. I will be playing Penthos, and Kayo is in charge.
Okay. Players decide who will play each character for the primary mission, reset armor, skills uses, and choose your load for the mission. So we know what Gavin is playing. What is everyone else playing?
I'm gonna play Kayo.
Okay.
Who is our heavy.
And I'm going to play Aoife the sniper.
And it sounds like Matthew's going to play normal Nabain.
Normal debate.
Yep.
Into it.
I think I'm probably going to be locked in until Nabain dies or something because having a medic on the main mission is very important.
Turns out.
There'll probably be missions where I won't be assigning Nabain to the main mission. We need to be able to train rookies.
Ah, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just deciding what my utility should be here.
How many of us are bringing oil? Is really
Good
a question.
I'm bringing a bunch of black shot.
Okay, so I don't know that Kayo has any, there's no, a gun, unless that's just a hand weapon, right? Do hand weapons count, guns count as those?
So
I wouldn't think so by default, but I'm not sure.
Hand weapon is a sword, spear, or axe, military one-headed weapon, no knives. You can take 2 if you don't use a shield.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Kayo doesn't have a gun option, so I wouldn't lean to... I wasn't going to pick black shot, because I'm like, I don't know how I fire this unless I just, scatter it.
Yeah, musket or
idea.
pistol seems to be the most straightforward gun choice.
So then I was going to go oil and hand weapon, because otherwise they've got a fine heavy weapon. Oh, and a fine hand weapon. Okay, well...
Yeah, I don't think you need 2 of those.
Yeah. I missed that because it was in the light load.
I do want to note that if the quartermaster spends a black shot, then we all get to equip black shot, and it'll give us +1d.
Do we? Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. So we don't need to bring black shot then. We get that
If the quartermaster wants to spend that.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
I don't think we've spent any thus far. We only have the one...
But we have 3 uses of
thing
it.
of it, yeah.
So we just.
I mean, I was gonna try to. Yeah, I was looking at the campaign phase actions too, and it's like we should acquire assets while we're in a place with those. So I'll just cross my fingers for that. But I think Blackshot makes sense here because there's a bunch of never growing in this house, and that's concerning as hell.
Okay, so I come with black shot, so that's 6 black shot for me then with that additionary. So I'm gonna then get a reliquary instead.
Ooh.
Do you have to spend 2 things for the reliquary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so then instead of black shot, I will go oil and books and scrolls.
Excellent.
Slightly tangential question.
Yeah.
Is Aoife still despaired?
Yes.
Okay.
Nabain is also still gasping, which I'm just gonna treat as a persistent cough.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get to the end of the mission and somehow we have some leftover healing that I can do, I'm happy to get rid of that despaired for you, Devin.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kayo still has the one crashed level 1 harm, which is, from the crash, and then also I have just described them as having done a lot of these, all right, rookies exercise time, so that doesn't help.
Commander, you may spend 1 intel to add +1d to the engagement roll for a mission.
Yeah, let's do it.
What does that look like?
Hey, Brendan, what's in that chest we got?
Oh, boy. There's a lot of correspondence. There's a lot of... I think there's a lot of, the text of a prophecy, and then a lot of, scholarly review of what a prophecy might actually mean from a lot of different, contrary opinions. And that is kind of how the Eyes of Smoke kind of arrives at a consensus about what a prophecy is supposed to mean. And so it's written in a way that doesn't just explain, and here is what is prophesied. It is deliberately set up in this adversarial kind of structure. But what you do find is you find a lot of detail on never that the Legion has encountered, that they have encountered since the Battle of the Omniculum, which shouldn't have existed yet.
Interesting.
Which, if you had been going to the Battle of the Omniculum and expecting to win, would have been really useful to have on hand.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I think what it looks like. It's Azar standing back, arms folded, as two rookies with crowbars pry open this chest and then dig through it until they find something about plant zombies. And then that is handed over to the marshal as like part of the prep or like readying people for this mission.
Right.
Looks it over, reads plant zombie. Takes a look at unlit stogie. Cocks head.
Wait, hold on. Is the marshal going to smoke the plant zombies?
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is there,
Right,
is
here
there
we
a
go.
weed zombie?
Maybe the marshal's thinking like, well, if that's a plant and a problem, then this is a plant and a problem.
Commander, close the tent.
Jesus.
We're going to smoke and find and read every one of these prophecies.
Like, what if this stogie is already neverified?
Oh no.
Marshal, assemble the die pool and roll.
Everyone's OATHSWORN to the Legion. Spent 1 intel. Not everyone is a specialist or soldier. Legionnaires trust the leadership. Required specialists are there. Quartermaster spent Blackshot. And there are some Legionnaires that are starting the mission wounded. So we roll 2 dice.
Okay.
It's a 5.
A 1 and a 5.
You're in a risky position when the action starts.
There's no other Oileanders on this mission, is there, besides Aiofe?
There could be. We have 2 unnamed rookies here.
Okay. I would like there to be at least one other, because I think on the way to this this location, Aiofe and any other Oileanders are like singing a like work song, but like what if a work song was a funeral dirge?
I know a couple of those.
That's great.
This is a song associated with the caravans of people that like take the bodies of the dead Oileander and like take them out into the woods to give them scenic locations.
I think it's been more hours than you were expecting. It has been hot. It has been quiet, aside from the chant. It has had this strange smell of soot and dirt. You find yourself passing these places where it is almost as if someone has ripped a tree from out of the ground, except there's no evidence of a tree there. There's just like this sudden pit. Perhaps it's as if a tree was pulled all at once underground, leaving no trace of it. But the upturned earth underneath it. And it gets heavier and thicker as you approach this estate. With its big manor, more functional than pompous, the kind of place that was very clearly somewhere that had a cafeteria, that had barracks, that had places for lots and lots of people to work. Completely overgrown. As though it had pulled all of the vegetation in the surrounding miles to it and draped it over and woven it in and out of the windows and doors. And new growth, too. These strange sort of yellow-orange pus sacs, bigger than a person, scattered across the overgrowth, with sort of a faint glow from inside. You approach this strange site, this overgrown manor, this estate, which has a lake, which has a small set of docks, which has a single temple made of wood constructed near it, and which had, up until recently, an enormous set of stables. A set of stables that Waloot Longfoot, the rookie who came back with you after their marathon race back to Sarpat, had told you that the remaining militia was holed up in. Those stables are now collapsed, smoldering, with the faintest bit of overgrowth of 2 green leaves and brown roots beginning to creep over it. And I think without thinking, Longfoot lets out a cry and begins to race towards it. You're in a risky position to start off.
I would like to stop her real quick.
Absolutely.
Just a big hand, just hold it, like just arm in front of her, just stop.
Uh-huh.
And then probably a look over at Aiofe, to ask, like, can you tell what's happening can you tell what happened there?
Do you think the Tailos people have like something that they yell to each other when somebody else is heading towards like unstable footing in the mountains?
Ooh, good call, and probably yes. Probably a whistle.
Yeah.
Probably just like a particular like a tone or like a couple of notes in sequence that's just like, stop.
That's real good. I think that is a roll, however. So this is a discipline roll.
Oh, hey, I have a dot in that.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
Risky standard.
Okay, risky standard. Die's not great. What are the terrible, horrible ideas that will give me an extra dice, but something bad will happen? What are those called in this game again?
I think they're just devil bargains still in this game.
Okay.
Yep.
What's
you can also push
the one
yourself,
of
you
the-
can ask for help, etc.
Mhm.
What is the devil's bargain here?
The whistle could also be really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Cool.
I will roll 2d6.
Nabain can help.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
I would like help. What's help?
Could be a number of different things. Nabain could call out as well. Nabain could run after this person and try to grab them. Lots of things could happen here.
Oh, what if it's that Kayo stops her from, or is trying to stop her from running in that direction, and then just like if there's any kind of like argument of like, but why? Just Kayo looks at Nabain and Nabain just starts listing all the possible things that could be wrong.
Well, you see.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fun.
Okay, sick.
I'm take a stress.
Okay, so that's 3. It's a 5.
That is a 5. So yeah, 3 things happen here. 1, Waloot stops and like realizes that she's out of line, falls back to position. 2, there's a rustle of motion from the manor. And 3, which is your risky consequence, I think the ground underneath you begins to sink in the same way as it seemed to have done on the trip here.
awful.
You'll move into a desperate position unless you resist this.
Yeah, that feels like a thing I should do. I think feeling the ground start to shake.
Uh-huh.
Starting to see like like a sinkhole starts, you just start to see it like starting to funnel in places. Um, Kayo is just moving to just push everyone out of the way, just like, oh, whole squad, just get in my arms and we're moving that way.
Let me pick you children up.
Aoife's small. Kai could probably carry her.
If not picking people up, then at least just like crowding, like shepherding them in a direction away from this.
Grabs all the leashes that are tied to each of the rookies. Yeah, give me a prowess resist.
Oh no. 3d6. 4. But I have the kind trait on Kayo, so I take 1 less stress on resistances for protecting people.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
How does that?
Absolutely it does.
Hell yeah.
1 stress.
Awesome. Yeah, as you hustle everyone away, hurrying, trying to stay quiet, the ground just like gives in as if there was a sinkhole there the entire time.
Aoife speaks up to Kayo. What were you going to ask me before the rookie ran off?
See if you could tell what happened to the stable. If the people Waloot says were in there are still around here anywhere.
Are we able to like get near the stables?
Sure. Tell me how you do that.
Penthos might actually be better than... Is Penthos on this mission? Gavin, you're playing Penthos, right?
I am.
Penthos might actually be better than Aoife at scouting.
Oh, my default
have
was
one
just
in
Aoife
scout.
because she's got a
Oh,
funky
never
eye.
mind.
I have
You're
one in
both
Scouting.
equally good at scouting.
Yeah, my default was Aoife because she's also got the funky eye in case
Right.
there's
Yeah.
any extra business happening here, which it seems like there always is.
If I look at the sinkhole that just happened, do I see anything unusual? Identify supernatural forces.
I think that smell that has been getting thicker and thicker is especially pungent here. I think you'll have to get closer to study it any closer.
Okay. Closer to the sinkhole.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to do that?
This does seem like this is going to be a continuing problem, so might as well get some more information on it, right?
Sure, absolutely. That makes sense to me.
Also, right, Commander?
Kayo nods.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. Can you investigate those stables? Yeah, give you a second. Jumps in big hole.
Yeah, I think I approach the hole very, very carefully, very deft-footedly, and I want to get a better look at it. And I think when the eye is sort of like activating, I think little like this is going to be kind of gross. Skip ahead 15 seconds for body horror, but the eyeball, the like wooden eyeball, starts to sprout roots out of the eye socket that start to like crawl up their face a little bit.
I like that. That's great.
Would this be a maneuver to like get close to the sinkhole carefully?
Yeah, absolutely maneuver.
Okay. I'm going to just do a straight roll because I have 2 dice in that.
Risky standard.
5.
5 is good. Are you like crawling on all fours? Are you like still like, are you bracing yourself against anything?
I think she's walking just slowly and carefully, especially since she's heavy load.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
I think she's just being anchored by her own like weight of supplies.
I think that what you see here is in the bottom, in the dark where the light sort of disappears into this hole, you see the faintest brush of motion. You see this rustling, this sort of like, this grasping, almost like, I'm thinking of like what a sea anemone looks like, where it's just a number of arms. But they are brown like the roots that you saw across the manor and starting to grow across the stables. And some of their tips really do seem to form little 5-fingered hands. And they are like reaching up and clutching at empty air as if they are expecting to find something.
Yeah. The way the soil looks, or the way the earth below us looks, does it give us any clue to like how we might be able to identify areas of land that have been corrupted like this to like not post up on them?
Yeah. I think you see most of it looks like this sort of ruddy brown, but you're able to spot, I think your eye like sort of focuses in and sees these streaks of almost like sulfur yellow that are almost sprinkled throughout. And like looking around at the hole itself, you can see these little patches of roots that have like if you hadn't been looking for them, they just look like dead and drying grass sitting on the ground. But they're actually almost like roughage covering pitfalls.
Yeah.
Where there are these clusters of brown and yellow roots waiting to like crush the ground within and pull things down into the soil.
Gotcha.
But I think as you're looking out at the rest of this place, you do have a risky consequence. I think you begin to slip as maybe like part of the ground under your feet begins to give way.
That's not good.
I think you're going to take level 2 harm if you don't resist it.
Could I frame this as an insight resist, since she was like looking carefully at the ground and trying to figure out like the best way to proceed through this area?
Yeah, absolutely you can.
Sick. That means I get 4 dice.
What?
Because
Some
of
dice.
my Oileander trait in tune, plus 1 dice to
Awesome.
insight resist. 46. Hell yeah. 6. 0 stress.
Yeah, you see it coming a mile away. And
Yeah.
you can even see like as you step away, there are little wisps of roots like flailing at the air where you were standing just a minute ago.
This is like a perfect description because her biggest hobby is climbing trees. So prancing through these roots is very much like prancing through the branches of a tree.
Excellent.
Oh boy. Does Aoife tell us what she saw?
Yeah, I assume you share that with the rest of the party.
Yeah, and I think as I like, if we're still headed towards the stable, I kind of like direct the crew, be like, "Oh, don't walk there."
Appreciated.
Yeah, I like that. I think that'll give you increased effect towards navigating this place
Hell yeah.
if you're doing it carefully. Who's going to the stables?
I could go to the stables. Take the rookies with me.
I'm so afraid. Just destroy them all. Because I mean, Kayo should probably ask Waloot, like, okay, because it was the militia that was supposed to be held up in the stables, right?
Yes, they were holed up in the stables when they were last defending this place.
Okay, so then yeah, it feels like we should go there.
Yeah, like defeating or at least withstanding the Never, but also rescuing the militia if you possibly can are what I would describe the mission criteria are here.
Okay.
Can we get some clocks?
Yeah, clocks.
Or is it too
sounds
early for
good.
clocks?
No, I love clocks.
Me too.
If I ever have kids, I'm gonna let them have clocks. Okay,
Old.
let's say we've got 2 clocks, 2 small little baby clocks. Now they're bigger. This one is eliminate the Never. This is a 12-step clock.
Oh,
Rescue the militia. This is an 8-step clock. Actually, rescue the militia? Question mark?
okay.
If it's rescue the mission militia question mark and it's an 8-step clock, is that 8 steps to just find out are the militia around to be rescued and rescue them? Is it both?
That
Or
is
one of the two.
Both of those are represented by the clock, yes.
Got it.
It,
Okay.
it could
Sorry,
it
just for
could be
clarity.
the case that all of them are not capable of being rescued, but I think you'd need to
Sure.
find that out in order to fulfill the clock.
Sure. Got it.
Mission is very annihilation.
Good.
Let's get over to those stables.
Yeah, Penthos is heading over there with how many rookies?
I mean, I
Or is
I
it,
would like more of us to go.
Yeah,
If
we can go as a whole group.
yeah, if everyone is
Yeah.
going, I think that's group action. Absolutely.
Sure.
Eva's got her 2 pistols out, her 2 fine pistols. They're like wooden coated, but they're like stained like beet red.
Cool.
Since Aoife has the best idea of how to move through this, can she lead this?
Yes.
Yep.
This is going to be risky great on account of your investigation.
All right. Ready?
And this is going to be another maneuver, I guess we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
That seems right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That sounds right. That's a 1.
That's a 6.
Hey!
There we go.
Good job, Penthos.
Sorry.
Ah, fuck. So I take 2
it's all,
stress.
it's all the heavy load.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a full success.
How do Kayo and Nabain slip up here?
We just have so much stuff.
Yeah.
I have 2 backpacks on, one on the front, one on the back, like a turtle.
Nabain just like starts tipping over, and I have to grab him.
You have to shore him up. I was also probably just taking extra long because I don't know that they're especially nimble, and then also they just have so much stuff. It's 2 shields.
Yeah, I think we probably don't want to fall down. That seems like a bad thing to happen on this mission. To get anywhere closer to the dirt.
So here's an important question. Are you going across the center of this map, or are you going around the manor?
What looks the safest based off of trying to avoid the corrupted ground?
To go across seems like it would be the more direct path, but to go behind the manor, depending on where the Never are in it and how aware they are of their surroundings, could give us more places to hide.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think that going around the manor definitely takes longer, but is visually safer.
And then we can sort of do a perimeter in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I think you go into it with this expectation of, we're gonna go about this slowly and responsibly and tactically, but it's really just slow. It is a lot of really close calls. It's a lot of almost really loud noises. There's like shifts as areas in the ground give way 15 or 20 feet away from you. There's weird burps from the manor as the vines rustle. You make it to these stables. The stables, more than any other place here, smell burnt. They smell like everything else just smells weird and rotten and musty. The stables smell like they're very decisively burnt. And something about the roots that you see that are here is that it seems as though, whether it's from the fire or whether because of something else that caused the fire, but the roots actually seem to stop short from overtaking where the stables are. There appears to be some other separate root structure that is spreading out almost from the middle, the stable area, almost as if someone had taken some of this weird never plant stuff and transplanted it directly into the center. Granted, it's a big mass. It's maybe 12 feet across or something like that, but it is separate and distinct from the stuff that you have seen across the ground moving up to this place.
And the structure itself is collapsed.
Yeah. Still some visible cinders, still a lot of smoke, but not actively on fire, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Penthos has rigged a bandana around his face and maybe stuffed it with a bag of tea or something.
Are there any tracks away from here that might let us know where the militia went, or is there anything in here that indicates that they couldn't get out, or if they did, where they went?
I think that's going to be a scout roll.
Shouldn't we have gotten some ticks for that great success? Or was that just getting
That was
here
just
and
getting
we're not
here, I
counting that?
think.
I think that was getting there. I think that's putting yourself in a position
it.
to start filling up the clock.
Got it.
Did we see anything interesting on the way too?
I mean, I think you saw like the sinkholes beginning to get more aggressive, even if they weren't necessarily like targeting correctly. And weird sights and smells and sounds coming from the manor. If you want to investigate that instead, that is definitely a thing you can do. But there is.
I was just wondering as we were passing by if we saw anything. I think Aoife and Camden are silently weeping the whole time.
Oh dear. Okay, we should look for where they went. That I think Penthos can do. I apologies for being so hesitant. I'm just like, I'm in charge. I can just tell people to do shit, but also it's strange. And
It's
flaunty.
hard, huh?
Yeah, I don't care for it. But yeah, Penthos was fast on like getting a mask up on his face. So like, since he's already kind of like ahead of the curve there slightly, will he please like see if he sees any like tracks of where militia might have gone? Kayo might just like whisper, if you were gonna hide here, where would you do it?
Yes, Captain. Guess this is like a scout role.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, if I can't stay in the stables now, where would... I think I'm going to push myself because the captain is asking me for my input and I want to make a good impression. That's a 6.
Ah,
Nice. This would have been also risky standard, I should have said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, you can tell that there are no people in here. There's no smell of bodies. There's no smell of people that have either been killed by the collapsing structure or that were left here or anything like that. If there were anyone here, they were taken away, or anyone that was here made it out alive. You can also tell that there's give me a little bit more visual on Penthos, like beginning to explore to try and like get a read on this place.
I think looking for foot traffic around the exits, keeping a head down below the smoke, checking inside maybe a little bit to see if there's a body visible or a live person visible.
Mm-hmm.
Once finding like maybe like fresher tracks, something that isn't like beaten into the ground into a path.
You don't find foot tracks, but you do find what looks like sled tracks, or maybe like some sort of something that was dragged, something that was pulled through the dirt away from the stables towards the wooden temple by the lakeside, which I think looks distinct from a lot of the disturbed ground that you've seen on your way here.
Looks like they were carrying a casualty towards the temple, Captain.
There's nobody in there. Should we burn it down?
Is it already on fire?
Is what on fire?
The stables.
The stables have been well and truly burnt down.
Okay, so they already...
The root structure above it is not on fire. And that root structure actually seems to like very...
Wait, above it?
Huh?
How above it?
Yes.
What? Roots? Okay.
I think, who would see this? You got a 6. I think you see it. You're not sure the first time, but you're absolutely sure the second time that one of the roots is like lifting and like looking towards you, almost like a periscope as you move towards the path towards the temple.
So I'm guessing that they're held up in the temple, or they might have been captured and dragged there. So, but I'm hoping that they just had some casualties and dragged them themselves there.
Well, if they have managed to make it over there, then I don't especially want us to lead these never right to them in case they're unaware. Trying real hard not to look at like if Penthos pointed out, hey, that root's like looking at us. I was trying very hard not to like indicate at it, right? It's that thing of just like, hey, don't look, but someone you know is over there and doing the thing of not looking.
It's not looking at you, but it is moving more than you would expect a group of roots to move.
Okay.
Slowly,
Yeah,
like
still,
a starfish.
I think they still don't want to. Oh, yep.
I'm gonna tick the rescue the militia clock.
Oh, huzzah!
Yeah.
So we gotta check to see what their condition is at the temple, and also probably burn down the manor. Those seem like the things to do.
Does Kayo say that? Does Kayo say that out loud?
Probably not.
Are you sure?
I think I've described them as being pretty terse, so
yeah.
that's me working this out out loud.
That's fair.
Yeah, also don't want to give away our game plan. Again, they don't know what these roots can tell or can sense. They don't know like if they can hear us, if they understand what we're saying, so less said the better. Trying to figure out how they would say that though. In either fewer words or like less directly, maybe. Just because they're concerned about roots.
Well, should we focus on finding if there's any survivors first before we start fighting?
Because then we can see who will help. All right, we should head to the temple.
Let's go to the temple.
Is everyone going to the temple?
Yeah, I think we should keep continuing as a group.
Okay.
Yeah, I think at least at this point, Kayo's trying to keep everybody together until we have a fuller picture of what the situation here is.
Yeah, I know we're kind of a big group, but like if the more we split up, the more chances we have to like aggro the.
That is absolutely true. Let's do another group maneuver to try and get to the temple.
And who's leading this one?
Kayo can lead this one.
Cool.
Risky great.
Or
wait, if Kayo is leading, I think this is risky standard.
Wait, who would make it great?
Aiofe has the magic eye.
Oh boy.
Well,
I think it's more interesting for Kayo to decide to lead it, though.
Hey, there's a 6.
She's still.
Oh, hey, we got one.
Hey, there's 2 6s.
2 6s.
Hey, only one stress.
Finally, I rolled
stress.
well.
I will take that. Nabain learned from last time. He's got his balance in check. That's growth.
How does Penthos
shifted.
slip up though?
Penthos' shoes are untied.
No way. Penthos would never allow his shoes to be untied after Rubberneck.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
How do we remember them?
Oh, man.
It can't just be by dunking on them.
It can be.
Can.
It can.
It can, but
You make it.
Oh,
you make it to
boy.
this small shrine. Gavin, what does a shrine to the Lord of Song look like?
Let's see. In the entrance, just inside, there's a big wall of names on like bronze plates in the shape of musical notation, probably. So like each name is like a note on this like song of appreciation and remembrance. This is a wall of people who have died or people who are honored for specific things, like donating enough money to the temple. And there's a basket underneath this wall full of ritual garments. So like kipot or talit that people can just wear if they don't have their own or if they're just visiting.
Cool.
so that's like the entrance, and then further in there's probably like the greater like amphitheater space, which has like the eternal flame, benches, raised pew, that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a smell of blood here. A lot of stuff seems like it has been like either shoved in the way of the door or cleared aside so that people could make barricades and stuff like that. You see little bits and scraps of bandages that have been left behind, but no people.
We should ought to go in, find the people. Like, I think when, we get there and there's the smell of blood, Kayo probably looks at Nabain and asks, if he's been, like, would those of us who are not Mustors or Mitsurium know that this is a temple to the Lord of Song?
Nabain probably would.
I think
Chimorti
so.
probably would.
True.
We're all like well within the Legion, and maybe like there's cross pollination. People talk about their cultures and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, excellent.
And no like towns or like cultural monoliths.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, this is not apart from your experiences.
Okay. Yeah, just because would ask Nabain like, or would look at Nabain and say like we should try to see if there are still survivors where they are, kind of like if we're familiar with the like layout of temples like these.
How tall is the temple?
I think it's 2 floors, but like the upper floors kind of open to the main room. There's like additional seating upstairs and maybe like a choir loft.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is the manor the tallest structure on the property?
I think the manor is probably the tallest, yes. Also to say, this is all wood floor also.
Wood, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Great, cool.
Nabain would offer if Kayo was sort of like looking around or like engaging with Nabain at all. I think the books and scrolls that Nabain brought is once again the classic Nabain move of he brought blueprints to this place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might be worth him maybe looking over the blueprints at this point for 2 major reasons. One of which is to get a sense of, okay, so they're not here at the temple, but the tracks seem to lead here. So was there like where could they have gone from here? Like, is there an underground path connecting the manor, that kind of thing?
Were there boats that are now gone?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's another thing looking through like the records of this place could give us here in terms of that. And the second thing is looking at blueprints to get a sense of, hey, is there wooden, outcroppings in this temple that shouldn't be here and might actually be a Never in disguise?
Good point. What did we do last time? Did we just say you can just mark this off? Or do we make you roll for
We did it as I had to do a use of it and then get a research roll on it.
Yeah. Let's do that again.
All right. I'm at 2d6 by default. Can I hear a devilish bargain?
Still risky standard.
Oh, if you're using books and scrolls, it gives you a bonus of some kind.
Yeah, we figured this out last time. I think it gives us improved effect.
Plus 1d or plus 1 effect. It's like pushing yourself.
Okay.
Right. How are we on ticks? I'll just do a regular effect still. Standard is fine. So actually I will go with an extra die on there. But I would like to hear a devilish option.
Sure, a devilish option.
Mm-hmm.
I think perhaps something has seen you go inside the temple that you hadn't noticed.
We're 2 hours in. We could start ramping up some tension. Sure,
Yeah.
that sounds fun.
Okay, into it. Cool.
And I'm going to take that as another die.
Okay.
Why come to the thing when we can have the thing come to us?
Absolutely.
Exactly. We got to start fighting it at some point,
I would hope so. But you never know.
No, we're just going to quietly maneuver our way in a big circle over and over
That
again
is smart.
until it gets tired and goes home.
Oh, jeez. That's what the Never sounds like now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is what the Never sounds like. They're voiced by Homesar Runner. That's a 6.
That is a 6. So you know that there is a pretty well-established basement to these kinds of structures. It has an entrance around the back, but it is reinforced with stone, and it is a pretty well-defensible kind of position. And it is probably the kind of place where they would have had temple supplies. So it is probably the kind of place where they would be able to hold out for a while.
Okay.
I don't think anything here stands out. Like, none of the wooden structure stands out as, like, aberrant. But I do think that given like the desolation of this place, I think it strikes you that it is weird that there is not more, like, corpses and such around. Like, it looks a battle took place here. According to the rookie that came back, like, half the militia was taken out already. If, like, they certainly have not had the time or the inclination to, like, bury their dead or even burn their dead or anything like that. Those bodies have not turned up anywhere.
Great. So, does that tick our rescue the militia clock?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I'll tick it twice.
Nice. 2 more ticks to rescue the militia. No problems at all. Okay, so Nabain communicates this with everyone and says, if I were them, I think that they'd probably head for the basement, especially if they'd lost people along the way. Though where the corpses are, I'm concerned about.
I think I know what is happening to the corpses.
Oh.
I think they're being pulled under. The roots have a grasping element to them, like hands.
What would they need the corpses for?
Life needs death to continue.
Penthos doesn't like that answer.
I think as you say that, there is like a it's like thunder, but it is the discordant, like, group murmur of the sky dripping down from outside.
Oh no.
Where? How close?
Yeah,
Is it near?
well, like thunder outside. Yeah,
okay.
just like nearby.
Okay, cool.
This is
Great.
probably a little bit triggering to Aoife and Kayo.
Yeah, they just share a look of like,
Not again.
yeah.
Should we try to get into the basement?
Yeah, I think the thunder, like, yeah, I feel like Eva and Kayo share a look there of like, but I wonder if that has Kayo thinking like we should. I don't want to split the party. That seems like a bad idea. But I think Kayo's just like, we need to move because I don't think they want to be here when whatever that rumbling means happens. There's just that horrible feeling that's like, yeah, it's just the fucking sky's gonna fall on us again. You know, at least we're better. Like, we came expecting a fight this time, but would still rather not have to fight the whole sky, thanks.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, I would probably get Aoife on top of the temple as a defensible position to do damage, but, like, I'm second guessing that now with the sky doing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Let's check the basement, and if we, if there's only so far we can follow this trail. Let's check the basement, and if we can't find anyone or there's no one to find, then we should do what we came here for. And just looks very, like, knowingly at everyone, like, everybody remember what we came here for, right?
Penthos cocks his musket.
Is the safety on that, young man?
Penthos?
No.
Okay, if you're going into the basement, the entrance, as the blueprints have them, is around back. Are you going out the back door, or are you coming back out the front door?
Is the front door towards the back door is towards the lake?
The back door is towards the lake.
So we have to go outside to get into the basement again?
Yes, that is correct.
Very concerned by that question. But I think we would keep going through just to, like, go through the whole building, make sure we don't see anyone?
Yeah, absolutely. Aiofe and Penthos, you can absolutely hear as you like walk across the temple, like the sound of people like maneuvering under your feet, like in response to your feet walking across the temple floor.
Gotcha.
And the sky is darker as you go outside, but you can see the lake, you can see the docks. There's no boats or anything like that. If there were boats, they've gone. And there is a set of double doors around the side of the building that's sort of like diagonal that leads towards a set of steps that goes down towards the cellar. Closed tight.
Do Aiofe or Penthos let us know about the movement sounds?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Probably shouldn't just kick in the door then.
Yeah.
Probably spook people. We knock? Right? Knock and try to convince them, like...
There's got to be some sort of like a call and response that the...
That Waloot gave. Yeah, that's a flashback we could have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Waloot. Good call.
Yeah. Who's marking that as a flashback?
That's just marking stress.
That would easily be talked about on the way here.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's 0 stress. That's fine.
Okay.
What's the call and response?
What's Sarpat known for? It was like a place where people did a lot of trading, but where the merchants didn't actually live.
Yeah.
It's probably something simpler and stupider than that, like horses' carriage or horses' bon appetit.
Or
Or-
if it's just horses' stables, because that's really funny, because the stable's gone.
That's what they were supposed to be.
Or if this is like a place where people do the work for people that live somewhere else, maybe it's like dollar dime, or something like that.
Hell yeah.
My stupid
Anti-capitalist
idea was-
Sarpat.
Yeah.
Sure.
My stupid idea was a knock. You a never? Nay. Because
That's so long.
Okay.
It's very good, though.
If you do a bit to the exact correct cadence, it'll open the door.
The one they used in World War II was flash lightning. So
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Penthos shouts horses.
Carriage. And the doors opened, and 4 very haggard-looking Mitzrati stare out at you, led by their captain. Their captain is named Captain Newt, Noot. She's played by Olga Krylenko, and she like without saying anything else, pulls Waloot into a hug, trying desperately not to just like burst into tears in front of everyone else because she knows she still has to get them home, but is like absolutely astonished at like any of them still being alive, and like stares at you like with a 1,000-yard stare.
I think Kayo just asked real quick, you have injured?
Not anymore.
How many are in here?
4.
Just the 4.
What do you mean by not anymore?
We had people take some injuries. We fell back here. They're not with us anymore.
Did you see what happened to them?
Yeah, they died. They bled out.
What happened to their bodies?
What happened to the... And, like, turns and, like, incredulously is, like, gesturing and then, like, starts looking around and, like, grabs a torch and starts looking around and is like... They bled out. I held them. They were here.
There's no bodies outside.
There's no... And she gulps and, like, looks towards the manor.
Have you seen what's going on in there?
I haven't seen anything that wasn't us running from that thing. And then she looks over at the stables and, like, squints and says, Where is it? And, like, looks at you and is like, where is it?
Where's what?
What is it?
And, like, gestures, like, desperately. The roots! And gestures
Everywhere.
at... No, there was, like,
Roots on top of the stables?
There are no roots on top of the stables
Anymore, or
anymore.
was I misremembering?
From around the side of the building comes a stomp that brings with it the sound of thunder. And then another stomp as legs, not merely the size of trees, but made of trees, 4 of them reaching down from this awful, awful thing that was once a person, that has had plants, mosses, roots, trunks, branches grafted onto it, into this wretched amalgam of a pachyderm sort of thing, begins to move, to roar, as it comes towards you. Oathsworn is an actual play podcast created by
Devin Nelson.
Gavin Fregeau.
Kris Allison.
Matthew Guzdial.
and me, Brendan McLeod. All music for the show is created by Devin Nelson. Find it and more at devindecibel.bandcamp.com. Find a link to their music and any of the games that we've played in the podcast description. Follow us at OathSworn Pod on Twitter or OathSworn on co-host. Until next time.